welcome back to my author commentary for A Prince of Song and Shade. Today we're going to cover, or I'm going to cover, chapters 26 and 27. They're quite starkly different chapters, so let's jump straight into it. Chapter 26 is focused both on Tristan's funeral in the Twin Thrones, and then the hunt that Talyn and her friends and Ariar go on to find the scene of where he was killed and see what they can learn from that, which was a pretty fun chapter to write. But we do start off with quite an emotional beat. It's the funeral. All the Dumnorics have shown up. All of Triss's friends have shown up. Talyn's family, Alana's family, and also Talyn has Zamril and Corin there with her. Talyn's a pretty lucky person. She has a lot of support, a lot of loved ones around her, and for the first time she allows herself to lean on them rather than run away like she did after Sari's death. And you can see as heavily impacted as Talyn is by her father's death, she's managing a lot better than she did after Sari's death. Obviously, Sari's death is a bit more of an emotional blow. It wasn't just losing a best friend. It was that losing the emotional, the warrior connection, the magic being torn apart. It was more of an impact. But Talyn adored her father. This is a big blow for her too. But by allowing those who love her to help, she's certainly feeling the grief, but managing quite well, actually, I think, in compared to how she managed Sari's death. So she's pretty lucky, but obviously Zamril and Corin are not fools. Zamril in particular, he kind of says to her after the funeral, so the king of the Twin Thrones, the horse lord of the Aimsir, a whole bunch of other senior officers have shown up at this funeral. Is this kind of normal for Kalumnia? Is that how it happens when farmers die? And Talyn kind of has to come clean there that she is a Dumnorix, which Zamril has a pretty quick, his mind is quick, he knows the implications of that. But their conversation is interrupted by Tarkos's arrival, and that will be picked up later. But yeah, Talyn is now, her identity as a Dumnorix is now out to the wolves, and as you see, for those of you who read on from this chapter, she starts telling them, letting them in on her secret, which is good to finally kind of have that kind of layer peeled away for her wolves as well. Another thing that this chapter, before we get onto the hunt, this chapter kind of illuminates is that growing tension for Talyn and how torn she is between her desire to be in Mithranar and the duty that she feels towards her home, her Dumnorix family, her Dumnorix family's kingdom. The first thing she wants to do is go back to Mithranar, to be back with her wolves, to be back doing the thing that she loves. But she also feels quite keenly the duty that she has to keep the Twin Thrones safe. Her conversation with Shia, the First Blade, highlights this. She'll, even though she's not sure why she is so certain that the Shadowhawk is connected to vengeance, she trusts that there is a threat there. She trusts that her uncle is concerned enough that he wants her there trying to find out what it is, and she's willing to do what it takes to keep her country safe. At the moment, she doesn't have to make a choice between those two things, but as we all know, as these books develop, she does get to a position that choice comes closer and closer, and in the end, she does need to make that choice where her home is, where her duty is, and that's not an easy thing for her to do. But then we finish out the chapter with Talyn, her two Kalinin besties, Leviana and Cinia, Zamril and Corin, and then Ariar, Horse Lord of the Aimsir, taking a little scouting trip to the scene of where Tristan was killed, and together all their various expertise combining quite nicely to pick up a few new leads. One that probably Alana was the initial target, not Tristan, but that and the modus operandi, or the way in which the assassination was carried out, indicates potentially something more complicated, something more skilled, something more organized than just a random brigand attack on a farmer. So it leaves something for the Kalinin and the Aimsir to pursue as an investigation as Talyn goes back to Mithranar. This scene, though, or this chapter, is an encapsulation of why I love Ariar so much. He's my favourite character, I'd say, in this series, apart from Talyn. He's just an absolute delight to write. The relationship between Talyn and Ariar is an absolute delight. It makes me happy just writing it. Ariar is going to show up again in the sequel series, Book of the Doomshard, just because I can't not write him if we're writing in a world that he's in. So for those of you who love Ariar as much as I do, stay tuned for that in the new series. Jumping into chapter 27, then we have a much more violent, much more depressing-ish kind of chapter. Kieran, the Shadowhawk, is doing his usual thing in Talyn's absence. He's picked up a lead on a warehouse where he can pick up some supplies to distribute throughout the human population. But this chapter serves to announce, even though you don't see it in this chapter, it serves to announce the arrival of Anrun Windsong into this story. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to pause again here just to be really clear. This is a very big spoiler. Don't keep going if you don't know already or don't want a spoiler. Anrun is Kieran's father. He has been out in the Skyreach, up at the kind of battalion or bastion they have in the far north in the Skyreach Mountains. Exiled there in one way, self-exiled in another. He is a Dumnorix. He knows he's a Dumnorix. He knows he is Kieran's father. And he and Sinia both made a decision that it would be safer for Kieran that Anrun is far away. However, with the escalating situation in the Citadel in Mithranar, particularly the increased fear because of the murders of Iceflight and also Goldfeather, Serana, Queen Serana, and Mithranar have brought Anrun back to spearhead the search for the Shadowhawk, who, of course, Queen Serana is piling all the blame onto for everything going wrong in her kingdom, without taking a look at the decisions she's making and how they might be impacting everything going wrong in her kingdom. But Anrun is no incompetent falcon. He's a very competent man. Obviously, he's a Dumnorix. And he immediately, he's back in town, he's spearheading the search, and already there is a very well-planned ambush for poor Shadowhawk. He comes within a hair of being captured. He gets hurt in the escape. He has to hurt someone else, which just leaves him in a welter of depression and guilt and shame. At the end of this chapter, the poor thing, you got to feel for him. But never fear, Talyn is coming back soon. Anrun is not a bad guy, as we all know. He knows who Kieran is. He doesn't know he's the Shadowhawk, of course, but it was an interesting way to bring Anrun into this story. So yeah, an interesting chapter, interesting one to write. I do like the character of Windsong. His appearance is very subtle, and he just has more and more of a growing impact throughout the series until you get that right at the end of A Duet of Sword and Song, the realization of who he is. So yeah, lots of fun for me. I hope you're enjoying these as well. If you have any questions or comments about either of these two chapters, then please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to answer and have a conversation about it. Otherwise, I really look forward to seeing you in the next chapter, chapter 28, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.